dear friends from Facebook. It's dawn and it's Friday afternoon here in Sedona, Arizona, and I bring you bright blessings and wishes that you are in a place of peace and happiness and health and well-being wherever you are. Today, I want to talk about the power of feelings. And if you watched my, hey Susan, hi, good morning. If you watched my video from yesterday, there was something I said, because the card yesterday was loss. And there was that satyr, that mythic character kind of sitting there in a weeping position with this tree coming over him. And it was the Seven of Cups, all these cups poured over, spilled over, loss. Or was it 8? I think it's 8 of Cups. Anyway, I said this thing about the expectation that people should keep a stiff upper lip or not express their emotions when grieving the loss of a loved one or a situation is a kind of insanity. And as I sit here in this decision to talk about feelings, and talk about emotions really, I feel slightly overwhelmed at all that's possible to talk about. So what I want to do is just take a moment to just do that thing where I drop in and get connected and then see what comes forth, because there's so much that can be said on this topic. So if you'll just, hey Cassie, hi, just give me a moment here. I'm going to drop in and then we'll see what arises and what needs to be brought forward about feelings and emotions. Okay. Our emotions are our power. Our emotions are our indicator of truth from lies, of yes from no. Our emotions are what show us and reveal to us what we need to know in any situation. Our emotions are not simply these expressions triggered by experience. Our emotions are the power that tells us what is truth for us. Trouble is, our emotional intelligence has been dialed down or turned off or cut off for a long time. And you've probably heard me talk about dominator culture before. And dominator culture for the last 6,000-ish years, most of the world has lived in cultures, civilizations based on a dominator model. And for most, if not all of that, it's the domination of the masculine principle over the feminine principle. How that rolls out in society is the man over the woman. But I like to call it dominator culture so that we don't start blaming the men. Because the majority of men suffer under dominator culture as well, even if it is the domination of the masculine over the feminine. This is, okay, so I got to talk about energy here. Hey, Peter. Hey, Marie. So I want to talk about the masculine form of creation and the feminine form of creation. And I want to do this in a way where we recognize that we, whether we are men or women, can create in both ways. So the masculine form, so this is not men, this is the masculine form of creation, is a beautiful thing. It has many good qualities. This is where we can use our mind to imagine something and clearly figure out the steps to make it so, where nothing else gets in the way and we just go for what we want to create. And this is a very powerful thing, and we've created a lot of amazing things on the planet from this approach. However, it is monofocused in nature, so it doesn't take into account the web of connectivity, the web of life that may be impacted by what it is that we create. And so if we have a form of domination, dominator culture, in which the masculine principle is highly valued and the feminine principle is diminished and denigrated, then what we have in terms of our model for any kind of creation is one that does not include feeling or emotion, or the intricate web of life, or the connectivity of many things, but mono-focused on whatever the intent is. This is how people can do experiments to split the atom, and it turn into bombs that melt people in entire nations. This is the shadow side of the masculine form of creation. So what's happening on the planet now is, after a long, long time, the feminine is rising. And by that, I don't just mean women, and I don't mean that the feminine is rising to dominate the masculine. I mean the feminine principle of the life force energy and the feminine form of creation. And because of this, we are seeing a big shift. One of the shifts, or one of the the sort of disruptions of the old paradigm, is that we are beginning to recognize, and this has been going on, being seeded for quite a while, but now we're really starting to see the importance of our emotions, and the importance of our gut feeling. Instead of cutting it off at the neck and just being these bodies walking around carrying a thinking head, we're starting to come back to the understanding that we need to listen to our bodies. We need to listen to our gut instinct. We need to listen to our feelings. We need to honor our feelings. We need to cry or laugh, or all of that. And this is all part of this, what we would call the feminine principle of our beings. So there's been some studies on the brains of men and the brains of women. And when a human is thinking about an idea, like let's say I'm formulating a new way to create Facebook Lives, and the difference between a woman's brain and a man's brain when they're both trying to solve a problem or formulate a solution or come up with a great idea about the same thing. A man's brain lights up, only part of the brain lights up, the part that's in this problem-solving conscious mode. The woman's brain, the entire brain lights up. And women are sourcing information from all parts of their being, because the brain, of course, is connected to the body. It's one mind-body vehicle, right? So women take into account, how's this going to impact my family, this, that, the other thing. It becomes the awareness of this interconnected web of many things. And again, I want to say that this is, as women do this. This is how we do it. This is why we need a pause sometimes to feel our feelings about a possibility, a choice, a decision, a communication. Because when we're operating from that place, we're able to do that. Now, men don't necessarily need to do that. They can go fast, and once they're on it, they're on it. Neither one is wrong. What's wrong is when we have one without the other. And again, I'm talking about masculine and feminine principles, but literally in the physical biology of a woman, she's going to operate, she's going to embody more of this. Most women, not all women, but most women are going to embody more of this feminine style of creation, which includes a connection with her feelings. All those old stereotypes, oh, women are too emotional, all this stuff. They're stereotypes, but there's a truth to them. It's just that they were diminished. The stereotype makes something that it could be profound into some kind of little tiny box that's simplified and sort of useless. It's to be able to put something on a shelf or in a peg and ignore it. But the deep truth is that this feminine form of creation, this feminine form of decision-making, of problem-solving, encompasses more than just the frontal problem-solving monofocus. And again, it's not to say that there's something negative about the masculine form of it or the way men do it. It's just that when we separate and polarize the two and then put one on top of the other and really diminish the one, like big boys don't cry, right? what we do is we toxify everything. And that's what we're seeing on our planet, is a great toxification of the planet because we have created way too many things that are poisoning the planet, that are poisoning our children, that are poisoning ourselves, that are causing suffering and alienation and separation, and you name it. I mean, I don't have to give you a news report, right? This is not a mystery. Thanks, Susan, and other people who are giving me feedback that this is a helpful topic. Thank you, thank you. So, feelings and emotions. This is, in our times right now, this is key for us to reclaim and remember how to feel our feelings, women and men. We need to find the safe spaces where we can deeply turn within and feel our feelings and honor them, whatever they are. Not as, let's say, rageaholics. And we all know some of those. Hopefully you don't know some of those. Unfortunately, I've had a few encounters in my day. Rageaholics, where it's like, when especially men, women are given a lot more room to feel our feelings, a lot more permission, most of us. Even that, it can be quite limited. But for the most part, women have a little more leeway. But men, boys and men, are really squashed when it comes to feelings from the time they're growing up. Big boys don't cry, keep a stiff upper lip, I'll smack you if you don't stop crying, this kind of crap, right? So what happens with some men, not all men, but some men, and I've seen this because it's in my family lineage, unfortunately, is I see this energy. It goes something like this. Oh, I have a feeling. I think I get mad. And so what I've seen is there's been a number of men in my family lineage who are rageful and nasty because they're wounded, they're in pain, they're suffering from all the kinds of things that traumatic patriarchal parenting and everything else has weighed on them over time. And so what happens is when feelings arise, especially if they're very sensitive, that feeling, with no skill of having to access it, understand it, manage it, express it, becomes this violent, angry attack, either on someone else or just a general kind of blow up. And this may be true whether they're drinkers or not, although, of course, when you add alcohol to the mix, it's literally like pouring booze on a fire, right? Just really bad. So we've all been wounded. We've all paid the price of living in a culture of domination paradigm, I would say, not just a culture, because many cultures around the planet, most of them are a dominator paradigm, in which the masculine principle is highly, highly valued over the feminine. And so what we are here to do, in part, as we bring in those of us who are light workers, who are making a difference and seeking what our soul purpose is, and knowing that we're here for a reason, one of the things that needs to happen is we need to reclaim and remember, as in put back together, our capacity to feel deeply, to trust our feelings, to find friends and allies who will hold space for us as we share our most vulnerable selves in sacred space, in space that honors and respects us. And all of this is because our feelings are the doorway into our truth. This is the gut knowing. This is the instincts of the body that know the tiger's at the cave entrance before the eyes can see it or the nose can smell it. But we've cut that off with all of this mental, rational, everything is discrete, separate parts, we're all disconnected. All of that masculine principle of creation, not just men, women too, all of that has truncated our capacity to feel. So we are in the process of reclaiming and remembering our capacity to feel. It is the power of our humanness. It is the gift of our humanness to feel our feelings, to experience emotion, to be so connected with that emotional guidance system that we can say, my gut is saying uh-oh, or my gut says yes. Because when we do that, we don't make crazy decisions anymore. And when we're free to feel our feelings, we don't have to go, oh, I have a feeling, I guess I'll get mad. We have permission to have the range of emotions. So one other thing I want to share with you here is this card right here. This is the card that came up today. Now, I want to say, I already knew I wanted to talk about this topic. It was already my intention. And then I pulled this card, shuffling this card. And this is the Princess of Cups. So let's talk about the symbolic archetypal meaning of this and how it ties in. So the cups are emotions and feelings. So there you go, right there. That's sort of in itself sort of sufficient. But what is the meaning of the princess? So in the tarot, we have the princess, the prince, the queen, and the king. So the princess is the feminine form of apprentice to mastery. The prince is the masculine form of the apprentice to mastery. Mastery in whatever the suit is. So in this case, emotions, cups. The queen is the feminine principle of the mastery of that suit. Mastery of emotions, if it's cups. And the king is the masculine principle of the mastery of that suit. So the princess, the apprentice, she's learning to mastery. She's learning. She's an apprentice to the suit of cups, which is emotions. And it's the feminine principle, which is everything I was just talking about. The tuning into the feelings, give me a moment here while I feel into this. That is the feminine principle of creation and feeling and accessing our wisdom, accessing our mastery in the emotional realm. Give me a moment. Let me feel this. Oh, I'm having a feeling. Let me notice what is this feeling? What's the distinction here? Oh, I feel like I need to cry. And instead of being like, shut that sucker down, oh, wow, I need to allow some tears right now. Let me let this come forth, because through the tears will come the insight I'm seeking. Or, wow, I feel incredibly angry right now. I feel so angry, like, where's my styrofoam bat so I can smash something for a bit, because some energy needs to come out of me so that I can get it out, so that underneath I can access whatever the guidance is there. So, Princess of Cups, we're learning this again. We are relearning how to do this. It's not just men, women too. As I said, women, yes, we have had more leeway, but that doesn't mean that we've done it very well. Because one of the things that women do in dominator culture, where we're underneath, is we use our power sideways. We stab people in the back. We manipulate. That's the truth about how women use power when they're undeveloped, when they can't access their own feelings because it's not safe for them, us. So it's not like, oh, the girls are good and the boys are bad. We are all learning how to heal and reclaim the power of our emotions, our access to our emotions, and the feminine, and to rebalance the masculine and the feminine so that we have this feminine principle of creation in union with the masculine principle. So we can say, when we're at a boardroom together with women and men, and there's a woman there who's a creative genius who says, give me a moment, let me feel into this. Without being punished, diminished, shamed, fired, because the recognition is the value there. Because we know that the masculine, the part of the brain, the masculine principle, can take these amazing visions, whatever is created, and run with it. So that's not the problem. The problem is when we create out of context of what would be best for all. So, I know I've talked a lot here. This is a subject that's close to my heart that I'm also learning and growing with. I haven't by any means mastered any of this. I'm just reading the field, as I say, reading the cosmos and bringing to you the messages of what's coming forward for me, through me, as important during these times for those of you who watch my videos. So, as always, I wish for you the brightest, best blessings, and in this case, I wish for you the capacity to reconnect, reclaim, remember your power as an emotional being. And if you would be so kind as to share a relevant comment in the comment thread below, I would really appreciate it, because that spreads this message farther thanks to the Facebook algorithms. And as always, I'll put the link to my website above. Thank you for all the love, Susan. So I'll put the link above if you want some audios for leadership and empowerment. You can go ahead and check that out. Either way, sending you bright blessings, and wherever you are in the world, sending you much love and heartfelt feelings. Mwah.